Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 10 versus 10 on Crown, and I'm going to be using the 39th Guards Rifles. Crown is a map that I haven't really had a chance to show on the channel yet. It is the newest 10v10 map and there is a lot going on. It is nice and wide and has tons of different environments. So you've got like a town here that's quite dense across two sectors. You've got like more open ground in between. You've got the forested areas, for example, on this right hand side, and also there are some in the middle. You've got the elevation from the hills. There is a lot of cool stuff to look at on this map. But today I'm going to be focusing on this area. So I've got sort of a difference between sort of town, suburban fighting, and I've got more sort of open range-ish fighting with the tree lines on either side. So that's where I'm going to be going. I've got some Razvedka coming down early on. The 39th Guards really struggles in the early game. It doesn't have much in the way of airborne units at all, and it only has limited recon units that are actually decent. So in this case I'm using the Razvedka squads because they're cheap, but they do have an AT launcher, and having at least an AT launcher early on is quite important to be able to snipe enemy transports, particularly enemy recon transports, as well as just enemy vehicles in general. So got 6 of them, 2 on each road basically that I was planning to control, and then I've got some reinforcements coming up afterwards because I believe I was a little bit late to deploy on this one. I've also got BMP3 though with my Motorstrelki. These BMP3s, I'm bringing them in at max veterancy, so you can see I've already got 3 vet. I've got T62 MV there as well. I've got an OSA. I've got 2 Iglas moving up on the left side, and I've got 2 Iglas moving up on the right side with this AT squad here. And another BMP3 coming up after the fact. But the idea is basically that I'm going to have my BMP3 support a Motorstrelki push with the AT squad there ready with its RPG-29 to pop anything that's like more heavy. But at the start of the game, I got off to a pretty nice start. I wasn't really contested all that much as I moved up. Usually what would happen is you'd get hit at the 50-50 by enemy recon, but I was happy that I didn't because, as I mentioned before, I'm using the 39th, and quite often you would lose those sort of recon engagements, so pretty nice. Anyway, at the start here on the left hand side, there is a lot going on. We got the Chieftain and Mac coming in. M1A1 Abrams just hammering away with the Bradley there onto Vector Kamarov's units. They've got the Chaparral back there. Chieftain's bringing up the Challenger 1 Mark 1s as well. So it's looking ripe for a cluster bomb. But I was making sure to sort out my troops first. My Iglas get into position, managed to shoot down the Gazelle. That looked really cool. And I'm also, of course, getting rid of my transports, making sure to sell them so I can get some extra troops. Managed to take down the Recon Gazelle as well. That goes down in the ball of flames. And on the right, I am pushing forwards with my Razvedka, but they do bump into some Sappeurs with the flamethrower, so not going to be lasting too long. And one thing that I wanted to point out on this map, that if you zoom in enough, the map is all you see. That's all you see on the horizon. It's really awesome. But anyway, here comes the Su-24M. That's a lot of Abrams. And would you look at that? The perfect strike takes out 1 Abrams. It takes out the Chaparral further back, as well as the supply was with that. So 2 supply, 2 Chaparrals. I take out the 2 M1A1 Abrams, and this one at the front was already dead. So an absolutely awesome cluster strike that saves Vector's position on this left hand side. But I'm continuing to engage on the right. My BMP3s moving up and taking out one of the track rapiers. Chieftain has brought his troops over to support Phantom. And Challenger 1 doing a bit of a runner there though. The VLRA going to go down in the meantime. We've got a little bit of engagement against the Sappeurs here. They are only using like 1 machine gun each, which is why the Razvedka is not really dying that quickly. I was really hoping that this would hit the track rapier as well, but unfortunately didn't manage to get that one. But off to a really good start. Lots of points on that left-hand side destroyed. We've managed to pick off some crucial units in front of us already, and I was kind of happy and content with just defending this sector whilst trying to push elsewhere. So I'm pretty much just trying to bring up any extra units that I need. So Motostraki Metis, for example, a good example of a defensive unit with the AT squad, and then also the Igla here. Good for shooting down those helicopters, because I did see a lot of those gazelles, and I have been caught out by those gazelles before. Those gazelles, the French get, they have rockets on them. They get like 12 rockets, I think, but if those rockets land on target, they can kill an entire infantry squad. And if you look at like a Motostraki BMP or the like Motostraki Metis squads, you know, this one's costing 40 points, and the gazelles with the rockets, they cost 20 points. So they're basically paying themselves off twice over if you let them get on target and remain on target. Now with the sappers engaging my Motostraki, this Motostraki is 3 vets, so managing to hold on quite nicely. I get the BTR 60PB to fire away, and I've also decided to bring over my BMP-3. This BMP-3, they are fantastic at demolishing infantry because their main gun is actually HE, and they also have a 30mm autocannon that just smashes enemy infantry to pieces. So the sappers, once they start coming under fire from the BMP-3, really don't last for very long at all. So off to, again, a very nice start here. I've managed to pretty much secure our position here as well, even though both of my recon squads went down, so I'm not really too sure what's coming my way, but I'm backing this up with a Superdi RPO in order to help me out, and I've got the T-62 kind of covering the road if anything tries to push down there. Got some supply on the way. I'm going to be making sure to fix up my Razvedka squad here and the Motostraki, get some more ammo back into my BMP-3s if they're low. And I've also got a T-80 BV on the way. It's going to be joining the front. Very cool. Look at that. Always got to love the fidelity of the units in this game. Looks awesome. Nice job by Vector to get some conkers in here. This is a great position to block off the road. And he has managed in the meantime to get some Motostraki and infantry back into these compounds after pretty much the entirety of this force got wiped out by that cluster bomber. It was actually nuts. BMP-3 finds line of sight onto the T-20. Going to be taking that out. Unfortunately, no infantry in there, so just the APC going down. But still a nice kill because it removes some of the autocannon support that could be used to push into my infantry. Yeah, the BMP-3 is just fantastic for ranged infantry engagements, and they will continue to do that throughout this game. So here's another one of those Gazelle AH-1s moving to the right-hand side. My AT squad with the RPG-29 gets a nice kill onto the enemy AMX-13. And the Iglas shoot down the Gazelle. I don't know what it is, like when these Gazelles get hit and they fall out of the sky, it looks so cool. Another MX-13 going down though, as the sappers now come my way. I've got this Superdi RPO, kind of just letting the sappers come closer. These should be on an attack move order, ideally. And since they weren't, or they were just like moving, they got sliced down very, very fast thanks to the BTR 60PBs. These BTR 60PBs can do a lot of damage to infantry. I see people waste these quite often, but the 14.5mm machine gun, it is really strong. So make sure to use these properly against infantry that don't have AT, and you can get a lot of damage done. The Superdi RPO didn't have to use their RPO in the end, wasn't really able to. The BMP-3 here coming under fire from the T-20. I was hoping to really hit this AMX-10, but since I missed it, the AMX-10 didn't miss, and I go down. It's a bit unfortunate. You can't win them all. I got my BMP-1 currently moving through the cover here toward Roman. And the reason that I had units moving through here initially was because of enemy sappers being spotted on the side of this hill. T-62 now moving up there, and I've also decided to bring in some troops over here. So this is the sort of big town on this map, and I believe we were struggling to kind of capture this point. You can see that this player is using the airborne to get the better of Lycus here. He's trying to cover, so I decided to bring in BMP3s to give him a hand. Because what I can do is unload the Mostrelki. These ones are only 2 VAT, but still going to be good. And then I can have the BMP3 stay at range and basically find line of sight onto the enemy forces. And meanwhile on the left, artillery coming in, doing a lot of damage to my infantry. I did push forwards here. We found that last sapper unit, but took a lot of damage from the artillery in the process. My Sapeli RPO actually got killed off, so that wasn't ideal. But going to be bringing in my own artillery, the Gvozdika. And this was the reason that I was playing the 39th. So this was played on the previous patch before the hotfix, and basically you can get 3 cards of Gvozdika, or you could get 3 cards of Gvozdika on on one card, so 3 Gvozdika on 1 card. And so I had like 9 of them in the 39th, and I thought with the buff to enemy, or with the buff to howitzers and stuff like that, basically what it would allow me to do is just spam them and get lots and lots of damage in with my artillery. BMP3 though, going to be continuing this engagement. So this is where the BMP3s are just really useful, just like constant sort of mid to long range fire support against enemy infantry, and it's just helping these Mudschützen win the engagement against these infantry. Have brought up the Euro here. That's going to be resupplying my squads. So Mostrelki going to be getting back to full strength. Going to be moving over my BMP2 as well. The BTR could also probably move back in here to get repaired. But yeah, ideally, this was just there for giving me my troops back, basically. Getting them back to full strength. F-15 coming in for that. Poor Su-25 gets absolutely annihilated. Does manage to get away. These Eagles are super good. Anyway, FPS running a little bit low here on the map. I apologize. There is a lot going on this map. So when you're zooming in and out a lot, it does definitely slow down the game. But Mostrelki going to be engaging some commandos now. These commandos do have the SIG and the Mini-Me. And the Mostrelki really not in a good position. And I'm going to be getting some artillery to come in down on that. Meanwhile, BMP3 is still chipping airborne units. You can see the enemy airborne message popping up on the right hand side consistently. Nice kill by the MiG-27M there, taking out a couple of vehicles. It's going to get down though. Right, commandos still pushing forwards. I've ended up pulling back a lot of my troops because these commandos do of course have the LRAC. I do have a new Sapeli RPO. Now this is pretty much perfect timing here because I'm going to be hitting them constantly with this RPO. And I do have supply, so as long as the commandos don't actually fire as a Sapeli RPO, it's just going to be able to continuously fire at these units, and the commandos go down nice and quick. I don't even lose this infantry squad at the top here, so that was really, really nice. Nice little play here from Vector, got really deep into enemy lines. But yeah, just kind of continuing this engagement through these tree lines. I was really hoping that I could get through here to the point where I could put a leader in the corner of the sector in order to give our team a bit more of an advantage, but it was proving difficult to do because my opponent was constantly pushing more troops in, and also I was kind of focusing on the right hand side at the same time. The BMPs just got this order to skirt around the edge of the town and continue firing into it anytime they get. So you can see again there, giving it like a waypointed order to move around the edge of the town so that we can find line of sight onto any of the units that are further in. Meanwhile, commandos coming forwards. Going to be getting some shots off into my armored units, but do get stunned and now going to get taken out. With the amount of fire coming down, especially with the Sapati RPO, made it not too bad for me, and I'm going to have the Yodel come up and resupply the Sapati as they continue to push forwards once more. I've got a pretty stable position here, haven't really come under much pressure. Vector in the meantime has put pressure onto these two sectors, so that's working out nicely, and it's allowing me to just bring in more and more reinforcements to this town so that we can continue to contest it. Monstralki engaging the mechanized rifles here, and I'm just going to keep moving the BMP3s across so that they can get shots on. That one's going to end up killing off the airborne there, which was really nice. F111 coming in with the napalm. MiG-23 going deep, unfortunately getting shot down, but the F111 did die, so that wasn't too bad. And the BMP2 also getting involved. BMP2s are nice because they do have that 30mm autocannon as well. The BMP2s can really do a lot of damage when they get in range with their machine gun. The only trouble with the machine gun is it only has 850 meter range, so it does allow enemy AT to hit you if it has the range to match. In the case of the AT4 here, it doesn't quite have the range, so the BMP2 could technically move forwards further. But yeah, just constantly doing damage to these infantry squads at range, as you can see. And if you are planning to use APCs to support infantry in towns, this is probably the best way to do it. Just have them skirt around the edge, out of range of infantry AT, and just use their autocannons to get shots through. And since these units were basically fixed up, I decided to move forwards, but then end up taking a bunch of artillery fire, and all of those squads get really low on health. Mirage there, definitely trying its luck. It does get shot down. They did manage to take down this, I believe it was like an MI8 or an MI24, but it's okay. So another commander unit in our way. Unfortunately, my Mostrauki already low due to the artillery, so kind of delaying my push once again. Mostrauki holding the line there nicely. But slowly but surely, we have whittled down a lot of the infantry in this town area, and Lycus has got his KDA Schützen in here. So it's working out quite nicely. The MP3 just able to fire away. Actually getting low on ammo now because they've been firing for so long. Getting a lot of value out of those. I have continued to build up my artillery in the meantime, but I wasn't really finding this to be too effective. These only have 2.32 damage, and it seems like the real damage comes from the howitzers that have like 4 damage. The 2.32, whilst it is good en masse, it kind of requires you to invest way too many points in order to make it effective. A push coming in here from Menkar. My RPG-29 hits the side armor of one of the M4A1, so managed to take one out free. I've also got an Su-25 on the way to help us out. The T-62 trying its best to hold for me, but having troubles. Iglas trying to take care of the AH-1F. My Su-25 fails to get the AT on target. I was really hoping that those Iglas could take care of this AH-1F, because without my Iglas there, I basically have no AA. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Su-25 to take down the Cobra instead. Still, however, another one a little bit further back. This area got completely decimated by this push. Like Minka and Phantom pushing through really did a number on me. I was hoping that I could get the SU-25 to kill the M1A1 for me. It's got one more AT missile left, but my Motostrauki dies just too soon, and that means that my SU-25 is going to have to fall back for the time being. Nice napalm though coming in from my teammate to help support. Will definitely slow down the advance of enemy infantry. BTR-60 again in a really nice position here to provide fire support down the road. These can do a lot of damage over time to these infantry squads, and that's what's happening there. Meanwhile, on this side, the napalm, I believe, forced the M1A1 out of cover, and my BMP-2s actually killed it off, so the second M1A1's down as well there. I opted to move these Gwozdika back a little bit more because they were definitely getting too close for comfort. Meanwhile, on the left, or sorry, on the right, where the town is, the BMP-3s did end up getting taken out. This M1IP was really starting to cause me some problems. So, and my Motostrauki are trying to push in here, but the high veterancy airborne units really started picking them apart. So, kind of pushed out for the time being. I did bring up a leader so that I could contest this sector, but I wasn't able to really get it in there just yet. So still being harassed here. The second AH-1F Cobra from before is moving up. The Igla on the right hand side, they're trying to take it down, but my Motostrauki do get spotted and they're going to get wiped out. It's unfortunate. Per Kiilstofte did end up taking out the M1IP Abrams, so that was nice. And Lycus's T-62s from range now providing extra fire support. I have actually turned off the AK-74s on the Per Kiilstofte so they hide themselves easier and quicker. That was quite important. So T-80 just firing down the road here towards the AMX-30. I think the AMX-30 just didn't have range or something to fire back, because my T-80 just didn't care. It was just showing sidearm here. Anyway, SU-25 coming in. Going to be dropping an AT missile into an AMX-10. Maybe not the best use of the SU-25. Going to be forcing me to fall that back as it got down to 2 health. But here comes the artillery. So the Gwozdika going to be firing away with their corrected shot. And it will do a reasonable amount of damage, but as you can see, it's only really like 1 damage per hit, and that's if the hit lands close enough. Whereas when you have a howitzer with 4 damage, it's way more. Anyway, you can just see the scale of this battle. It is huge, and it is like, when I'm zooming all the way out, lagging me out. So we'll get back zoomed in. The town, I've kind of given up on supporting it at this point, because I was coming under pressure here, of course. So I wasn't really able to continue my engagements in the town there. Vectors, poor Per Kiilstofte going to get spotted any second, unless the T-80 can save the day. It does have its own RPG, so technically it might be able to kill the AMX-10. Yeah, I still managed to hold the ground here for the entire game, which was nice. I've managed to get some more Motostrauki up to plug this gap that was made. Artillery does come in towards my T-62, but I managed to get that back. We're currently 2,000, almost 100 points ahead of our opponents. So we're almost winning, which is really nice. Unfortunately, it's Per Kiilstofte there. Try and get them into the sector. I was trying to move them over to the left here, where Fox could kind of help out with the push into the sector, but yeah, they ended up dying, so that was my last attempt to really help out on that side. BMP-2s going to be able to catch out the M35 there before it unloads, so that was nice. And the BMP2 shots coming into the infantry on the left side definitely helping as well. Artillery coming in from the Gwozdika. There's actually no directed shot here though, so the dispersion was a little bit too great, and you can see how lackluster these Gwozdika can be, considering how close they are as well. If you consider that their dispersion is that bad, that close, was really not that impressed by it. BMP2 is trying to take care of the M1A1 with their Conkers ATGMs. Unfortunately missing just way too much. But the Mi-8MT able to get the stun going, so that was definitely very helpful. The Su-25 coming in with the AT missile will finish it off, but it's going to take a BMP2 with it. Got my T-62 fixed up here. I'm just going to be moving it back into position to help defend against enemy pushes. Gwozdika also spotting a unit on this right hand side. I'm going to be targeting that afterwards. And the idea was just to see how much value I could get out of these. I could have brought in a lot more, but I realized how ineffective they were being. Maybe if I had like 9 of them, then I could just do like 1 shot from each, and that would be enough to just absolutely wipe a target all in one go. But yeah, didn't really matter in the end. Just doing well with the APCs anyway. I really like the playstyle of the 39th Guards, like with the infantry and then the BMPs backing them up. It's kind of more mobile than some of the more heavy armored units that rely on those heavy armor to push up. You can kind of get away with using them at close range more often because you don't really mind losing them as much, and then are still really good at destroying enemy infantry at longer ranges. I think the 39th is actually a good matchup against the French now I think about it, because the French don't have as much armor, so they can make better use out of their HGMs, which is something you have to rely quite heavily on with the 39th. But you do have some tanks, don't get me wrong, but you're mainly going to be just using a lot of the BMP2s and stuff. Buratino from Vector firing away, looking for the enemy CV here. Meanwhile my BTR-60 continuing to provide fire support onto these grenadiers. Motorstrelki getting very low, and do end up getting taken out by the AMX-30 there. Took out a Bradley on this road. M1A1, a new M1A1 coming up. It's quite worrying for me to deal with, but with all of these new BMP2s arriving and a second T-62, going to give me a chance to do some damage to this M1A1. Gets pinned down by the Mi-24. Kleiner Shirkia really helping out a lot. And Motorstrelki finally making a little bit of progress, but the commando is still very much alive from being there before. They haven't gone down yet. I decided it was time to make a little bit of a push with the BMP2s and finally get a command hopefully into this sector. That was the plan. The plan that I was trying to get done throughout this entire game. M113 going to be going down, looking for the next one there, because this one actually has infantry in it. Engineers get unloaded, get wiped out by the Mi-24. This Mi-24 providing fantastic support. But so are the BMP2s. The T-62 there as well, just covering the advance of my infantry. I do have the Pulamachiki. These guys have the 2 PKMs, so good for pinning units at range. Here comes the MIAMT, definitely going to be helping out. We're currently still at a +2. So really not long until we win. Another 75 points and we'll be there. Maybe just kind of like break the back of my opponent here. I did decide also to bring up an MI24 VP. And these things are a little bit cheaper than they used to be. 260 points. But they are obviously weaker than they used to be. This 23 mil used to be super strong. I really wanted to see if I could like try them out again. In this case, it was helping with the HGM towards the M1A1. So able to just chip a little bit of damage there with the Kokon in order to support my infantry against that heavy armor without having to really utilize my T62, which would definitely have struggled. So I've got a good foothold in the corner of the town. Just need to make sure that I don't let these infantry squads die and I get them resupplied, so that's why I brought up the Ural there, getting the artillery on target towards these grenadiers. The MP2 is still hammering away in the meantime. Here comes the Per Kiilstofte to capture this. So any mud strokey they get too low, falling them back, getting them into supply distance of the Ural. Artillery comes down hard onto the voltages there. I think it ended up killing the TOW2 as well. And that is definitely helping a lot. Yeah, it's not doing maybe as much damage as I would have liked, but it is still pinning those squads, making them less effective due to their lower cohesion, which basically lowers their rate of fire. So Per Kiilstofte did manage to get into the sector. We get the +1. The Mirage 3 gonna be spoiling the day. Comes in and actually strafes my Per Kiilstofte to death. So gotta wait a little bit longer now until we can get the job done. Gonna be bringing in the Su-27. This thing is such a cool aircraft. Takes out the Mirage 3. Unfortunately, a lot of AA is going to get it shot down. They're just going to kind of hope that somebody else can get the +1 advantage for us here to just finish the game. I tried my best to get one in there. Now we're going to have to try again. Another M1A1. Causing me problems down the road. Got the T62. Helping out with the main gun, getting the BMP2s on target with all the Conkers. Hoping to take that out, and we do manage to kill it. So that works out quite nicely. +1 is found elsewhere. And, well, that is more or less game. This map is incredible. It does have, I believe, a little bit of a performance problem compared to some of the other 10v10 maps, but with some optimization I'm sure it will get there. I might just need to get a better PC, to be honest. In the end, 4,850 kills to 2,895 losses. Incredible game. I think this map is just spectacular. I just hope that it's not burning people's PCs down. Let's have a good look at the kills and losses. So we had the Rozvedka do okay early on. Well, they didn't really do okay. They managed to get quite far up. And then, like, over time, they kind of got whittled down because they don't really have much combat effectiveness. But the BMP3s managing to chip lots of these airborne units, really, really good. Definitely helped out in that town engagement. The Su-25 didn't do as much as it could have done, but taking down an AH-1F and an M1A1 is still good value. T-80BV dealing with the AMX-30s there. Gvozdika, not really as good as I hoped that they would be. They were like pretty much the reason that I chose to play the 39th in this game, and a bit lackluster, so I'll probably stick with the Akataya from now on rather than the Gvozdika. But the BMP2s, again, really performing well, and the Su-27 at the end going down, unfortunately. So the AMX Alpha 1s, this is the difference, right? These can just slap infantry so hard because they've got over 4 damage on the HE, whereas I've got 2.2 on my Gvozdyka. This was the M1 IP that slapped all of my APCs that were helping in the town engagement. This ended up doing tons of damage to me. But other than that, nothing really else got the better of us, so I was happy. And yeah, it was a pretty solid game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.